The engagement party at the Riverside Ballroom had been proceeding exactly as expected. 200 guests, champagne flowing, and my sister Brooke had been displaying her engagement ring for the past hour like she was exhibiting the Hope Diamond. 2 carats, platinum setting her fiancé's 3-month salary, and a proposal story she'd recounted at least 15 times tonight. My parents glowed with pride at every retelling, asking questions about the jeweler and the ring's cut and clarity like they were gemologists. I'd been standing near the bar, nursing a glass of Pinot Noir, offering congratulations when required, essentially invisible. Then Uncle James arrived, apologizing for his flight delay, and everything shifted. James wasn't just my father's younger brother. He was a venture capitalist who'd made his fortune backing tech startups in the late 90s. He was also the only family member who'd bothered to stay connected with me over the past 8 years, despite living 3,000 miles away in San Francisco. "Sorry I'm late, everyone," James said, making his way through the crowd to our family cluster. He hugged Brooke, congratulated her fiancé, then turned to me with a warm embrace. "Sophia. God, it's good to see you." He pulled back, studying my face. "You look incredible. How's life in that $1.5 million house you purchased? Is the neighborhood everything you hoped?" The conversation around us died instantly. Brooke's hand, the one displaying the ring, froze mid-gesture. My mother's champagne flute stopped halfway to her lips. My father's face drained of color. "James, what house?" my father whispered, his voice tight with confusion. I took a slow sip of my wine, savoring the moment. 8 years. 8 years of being overlooked, dismissed, and treated like the family afterthought, while Brooke's every achievement became a production worthy of Broadway. And now, finally, the truth was coming to light. "The house on Sterling Heights," James said casually, accepting a champagne flute from a passing server. "The one Sophia bought in 2016. Gorgeous craftsman. That mountain view? Spectacular. I stayed there last time I was in town." Brooke found her voice first, shrill with disbelief. "Sophia doesn't own a house. She rents that apartment near the university." "I rented that apartment," I corrected calmly, "for about 2 years during my PhD program. Then I bought the house on Sterling Heights. That was 8 years ago." My father's champagne flute tilted dangerously in his grip. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the 5-bedroom Craftsman I purchased for $1.2 million in June 2016, I said evenly. "The one that's now valued at approximately $1.5 million according to recent market comparables." The number seemed to reverberate through our family cluster. My mother's hand flew to her throat. My father looked like he'd been struck by lightning. Brooke's perfectly practiced smile crumbled. "That's impossible," my mother breathed. "Where would you get over $1 million?" "I put down $240,000 and financed the rest," I explained. "Though I paid off the mortgage 6 years ago." James nodded approvingly. "Smart move. Sophia's always been brilliant with money. That signing bonus from Helix Pharmaceuticals? She put the entire amount toward the mortgage principal. Paid off $960,000 in 2 years." "Signing bonus?" my father said faintly. "What signing bonus?" "From when I started at Helix," I said. "They offered me $180,000 as a signing bonus to leave my postdoc position. I accepted and used it all to pay down the mortgage." "You got a $180,000 signing bonus?" Brooke said, her voice strangled. "That's standard for senior positions in pharmaceutical research," I explained. "My current annual compensation is $375,000 including bonuses and stock options." The silence that followed was absolute. Someone's champagne flute actually slipped from their fingers and shattered on the marble floor. Several guests turned to look. My mother looked like she might faint. $375,000, my father repeated mechanically. "A year. Base salary is $280,000, I clarified. Annual performance bonuses average around $60,000. And my stock options vested this year at approximately $35,000. James smiled. "Sophia's being modest. Those stock options she mentioned? She's sitting on another $420,000 in unvested equity. Plus the patent royalties." "Patent royalties?" my mother whispered. "I hold 11 patents in oncology drug delivery systems," I said. "They generate approximately $95,000 annually in licensing fees." Brooke's hand, still frozen in mid-air, began to tremble. The 2-carat engagement ring suddenly looked very small. My parents stood completely still, processing information that clearly didn't fit their understanding of me. "I don't understand," my mother said, her voice breaking. "You're a pharmaceutical researcher. How can you afford all this?" "I'm the director of oncology research at Helix Pharmaceuticals," I corrected gently. "I oversee a department of 47 researchers. We're currently in phase 3 trials for a drug that could revolutionize pancreatic cancer treatment." James pulled out his phone, scrolling through something. Actually, Sophia's work was featured in Nature Medicine last month. The article called her research groundbreaking and potentially Nobel-worthy. "Nobel Prize," my father said hoarsely. "It's early to talk about that," I said, uncomfortable with the speculation. "But the research is promising. If the phase 3 trials succeed, we could save thousands of lives annually." Brooke found her voice sharp and defensive. "Why didn't you tell us about any of this?" "I did tell you," I said quietly. "Multiple times. You didn't listen." "That's not true," my father protested. James set down his phone. "Actually, it is true. I have the emails Sophia sent me about it. November 2016. Told Mom and Dad about the house. Dad said I was being financially irresponsible. Mom asked if I was sure I could handle the maintenance. April 2018. Mentioned the mortgage payoff at Easter dinner. They asked if that meant I was unemployed. We didn't say that," my mother said weakly. "You did," I confirmed. "You assumed that paying off a mortgage meant I'd lost my job, not that I'd been financially successful enough to eliminate the debt." The distinction seemed to wound my mother. Her eyes filled with tears. My father's jaw clenched so hard I could see the muscle jumping. Uncle James continued as if nothing had happened. "Sophia, have you made a decision about the lake house investment? That property was stunning." "What lake house?" my father demanded. "There's a luxury property available on Lake Serenity," James explained. 6 bedrooms, private dock, 3 acres. Sophia's considering purchasing it as a vacation rental property. "Why would Sophia buy a vacation rental?" Brooke asked, her voice thin. "For income diversification," James said. "She already owns 4 rental properties in addition to her primary residence. This would be her 6th property overall." The revelation hit like a shockwave. My mother actually swayed on her feet. My father grabbed her elbow to steady her. Brooke looked like someone had slapped her. "For rental properties," my mother whispered. "Small single-family homes in emerging neighborhoods," I said. "I buy them below market, update them and rent them to young professionals. Average cash flow of about $1,800 per unit after all expenses. That's $7,200 a month," my father calculated automatically. "That's over $86,000 a year in rental income. Plus appreciation," James added. "Those properties have increased in value by an average of 42% since Sophia purchased them. Her total real estate equity across all properties is approximately $2.1 million. The numbers kept landing like artillery shells. Brooke's engagement ring hand dropped to her side, forgotten. My parents stood frozen, trying to process a version of their daughter that didn't match the one in their heads. $2 million in real estate, my father said slowly. "That's just the real estate," James corrected. "Sophia's total net worth is closer to $3.2 million when you include her retirement accounts, investment portfolio, stock options and liquid assets." $3 million? Brooke's voice came out as a strangled whisper. $3.2 million, I corrected quietly. Though these are estimates. Market fluctuations could change the exact figure. My mother's champagne flute slipped from her fingers, joining the earlier casualty on the floor. This time she didn't even notice. "You're a multimillionaire?" "On paper," I said. "Most of it's invested or in real estate equity." James's colleague, Dr. Elizabeth Park, approached our group with a warm smile. "Sophia, I didn't know you'd be here. Congratulations on the FDA breakthrough designation. That's incredible news." "Thank you, Elizabeth," I said. "We're very excited about the potential." "FDA breakthrough?" my father said faintly. "The FDA granted our pancreatic cancer drug breakthrough therapy designation 3 weeks ago," I explained. It fast-tracks the approval process. If everything goes well, we could have approval within 18 months instead of the usual 4 years. Elizabeth beamed. Sophia's work is going to save countless lives. He's brilliant. Are you coming to the conference in Geneva next month? I'll be presenting our Phase 3 preliminary data, I confirmed. Presenting at a conference in Geneva? My mother said. The International Oncology Research Symposium, I said. I'm giving the keynote address on novel drug delivery mechanisms. It's a fairly significant honor in the field. Fairly significant, James scoffed. Sophia's the youngest keynote speaker in the symposium's 40-year history. It's a huge deal. Brooke's voice turned bitter. So you're just famous? Is that what this is? I'm not famous, I said. I'm respected in my field. There's a difference. Your research has been cited over 4,000 times, Elizabeth pointed out. You've published 37 peer-reviewed papers. You've revolutionized oncology drug delivery. That's more than respect. That's recognition of genuine brilliance. The praise felt uncomfortable, but I appreciated Elizabeth's support. My parents looked shell-shocked. Brooke looked like she was going to be sick. I need some air, Brooke said, pushing through the crowd toward the balcony. Her fiancé hesitated, looking between Brooke and our family group, then followed her. My mother started to go after them, but my father held her back. Let them go, Patricia, he said quietly. We need to talk to Sophia. What's there to talk about? I asked. Uncle James mentioned my house. You didn't know I had one. Now you do. That's the whole conversation. It's not, my mother said, tears streaming down her face now. How can you have achieved all of this and we didn't know? Because you never asked, I said simply. Because every conversation about my life got redirected to Brooke. Because you assumed that since I wasn't posting on social media or seeking attention, I must not have anything worth sharing. James nodded. I've been watching it for years. Every phone call, every family gathering, it's the Brooke show. Brooke's job, Brooke's boyfriend, Brooke's engagement. Sophia could cure cancer and you'd ask if Brooke wanted dessert. That's not fair, my father said. Isn't it? James challenged. When was the last time you asked Sophia about her research? Her home? Her life? When was the last time you treated her like she might have something worth celebrating? The silence was damning. My father looked away. My mother sobbed openly. I can tell you exactly when, I said quietly. You asked about my research 6 years ago at Thanksgiving. I started explaining my work on nanoparticle drug delivery, and you interrupted after 2 minutes to ask Brooke about her new apartment. You haven't asked since. The specificity of the memory seemed to break something in my mother. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. For what? I asked. For not listening. For not caring. For spending 8 years treating me like I was less important than Brooke. We love you both equally, my father insisted. Do you? I asked. Can you tell me what company I work for? What my job title is? What disease I research? Where I live? Anything about my actual life? The silence stretched. My father's jaw worked. My mother's tears fell onto her dress. Helix Pharmaceuticals, James provided. Director of Oncology Research. Pancreatic cancer. 2847 Sterling Heights Drive. Sophia oversees breakthrough drug development that could save thousands of lives annually. We should have known all that, my mother said. Yes, I agreed. You should have. My father's voice came out rough. What do you want from us, Sophia? Nothing, I said and realized it was true. I wanted you to be proud of me. I wanted you to be interested in my work. I wanted you to see me. But I stopped wanting that about 4 years ago when I finally accepted it wasn't going to happen. It can happen now, my mother pleaded. Can it? I asked. Or do you just want access to your millionaire daughter? Do you want to know me, or do you want to brag about me now that you can't pretend I'm the disappointing child? The accusation landed hard. My mother flinched. My father looked stricken. We never thought you were disappointing, my father said. You just thought I was less impressive than Brooke, I corrected. Less successful. Less worthy of your time and attention. And you were wrong. You were catastrophically wrong. But you didn't know because you never bothered to look. James placed a hand on my shoulder. Sophia, maybe we should. I'm leaving, I said, cutting him off gently. This is Brooke's night. I shouldn't have come. Sophia, please, my mother said, reaching for me. I stepped back. Enjoy the party. Celebrate Brooke's engagement. It's what you're good at. I walked toward the exit, my heels clicking against the marble floor. Behind me, I heard my mother call my name, but I didn't turn around. Uncle James caught up with me in the lobby. You okay? I think so, I said. That was harder than I expected. You were perfect, he said. Calm, dignified, truthful. Everything they needed to hear. They're going to call, I said. Tonight. Tomorrow. They're going to want to fix this. Maybe, James agreed. But you don't owe them an easy reconciliation. You've spent 8 years trying to be seen. If they want a relationship now, they need to earn it. What if they can't? I asked. Then you'll be fine, he said firmly. You have an incredible career, financial security, meaningful work that saves lives, and people who actually appreciate you. You don't need parents who only valued you when they learned your net worth. He was right. I knew he was right. But it still ached. Thank you, I said, hugging him. For seeing me. For being proud of me. Always, he said. You're the most accomplished person in this family, Sophia. Don't let their blindness make you doubt that. I drove home to Sterling Heights, to my 5-bedroom Craftsman with its mountain views and custom finishes. To the life I'd built with my own brilliance, my own dedication, my own relentless work. Inside, everything was exactly as I'd left it. The home office where I reviewed research data and wrote papers that advanced medical science. The library filled with medical journals and oncology textbooks. The guest suite where Uncle James stayed during his visits. The master suite with its spa bathroom and walk-in closet. Every room represented a choice I'd made, a goal I'd achieved, a dream I'd realized. Not for my parents' approval. Not for recognition. Just because this was the life I wanted. My phone started ringing. My mother. I let it go to voicemail. Then my father called. Voicemail again. A text from Brooke. You couldn't let me have one night? I set the phone down and walked through my house room by room. The kitchen where I'd hosted dinner parties my parents had never attended. The backyard with its garden where I grew vegetables for the local food bank. The basement I'd converted into a home gym and meditation space. The anger I'd expected didn't come. Instead, there was just clarity. Clean, cold, liberating clarity. I'd built something extraordinary. I'd achieved financial independence, professional recognition, and meaningful impact. I was revolutionizing cancer treatment. I was on track for achievements my parents couldn't even comprehend. And I'd done it all without their knowledge, support, or approval. Which meant I didn't need those things to succeed. I never had. Tomorrow there would be more calls. More attempts at reconciliation. More demands that I make them feel better about their failures. But tonight I stood in my $1.5 million house, surrounded by 8 years of quiet achievement, and let myself feel the full weight of what I'd accomplished. Without them. Despite them. In spite of them. And it was magnificent.